Kia ora and welcome to the Beer Jug Advent Calendar. We are on day 9. I'm Luke.
And I'm Matt. And we are drinking a stupid beer today.
Yeah.
It's very, very stupid. And it is Splice Up Your Life from One Drop Brewing in Sydney. This is probably the maddest beer that's in the Advent Calendar this year, I think.
Yeah, this beer is mad. I think it may make a few of you angry. It may delight a few of you. It's going to be divisive. We've moved on from our traditional German lager and Kolsch period into some of the wacky stuff. This is not a middle of the road beer.
Yeah, so this is an imperial, they call it an imperial spliced sour. And basically it is a big fruited sour with white grape, maple syrup and passion fruit and lots and lots and lots of lactose. It's big, it's sweet, it's sour. It's a big punch to the taste buds. And we reckon some of you are going to go absolutely mad for it. And some of you might want to pour it down the sink. It's definitely an experience of a beer.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible just how they've got all these flavors into this beer. There's some milk sugar in there, the maple syrup. There's big sweetness. You crack the can open and it reeks of those little pots of yogurt you get when you're 5 years old. Petit Filou strawberry yogurts. It's just so aromatic. This is pretty far from what any normal thinking person would think of as a beer. This is a whole new confection.
Yeah, and this is what One Drop specialise in. So they are a great team of guys from Sydney. Some of you may have experienced One Drop beers when they came over and dominated the Beer Varna leaderboard this year. They, I think, at one point had 6 of the top 10 slots on the Beer Varna leaderboard with beers just like this. So they had a blackberry smoothie sour and a few others, and they do kind of their
big stouts, dessert stout type things.
They have a series called the lactose saturated imperial stouts. I think they've actually calculated how much lactose can dissolve into a beer and used that much of it because they love it that much. You really get that big tartness, that big, full, creamy mouthfeel. It's kind of almost kind of cloying. It just sits there on your tongue. But they've balanced it well with the tartness that kind of cuts through and cleans it out at the end.
It's I think that's the lime juice. So strange. We actually haven't checked with the One Drop guys, but on the front of the can it says passion fruit, lime, and maple syrup. And on the back it says passion fruit, white grape, and maple syrup. But I'm getting big lime flavors in there, big citrus that cuts through.
So as we hold up that can, you may notice that there is probably a little bit of damage to your can of this, we're sorry to say. But the whole shipment arrived like that with all the paint scraped off we had a look, and it is, I think, literally every single can. So we had to make a call as to whether to send you some kind of cosmetically damaged cans or pour hundreds and hundreds of beers down the sink. And we thought this beer was such an experience that it's worth a bit of chip paint to bring it to you.
I think that comes from there's a new printing process that I know some brewers overseas have been using, where they can sort of print on demand a certain amount of cans rather than having to do gigantic runs of hundreds of thousands of cans, which obviously you can't really do as a craft brewer making small batches. So I'm presuming that's the case, and it's just sort of, the paint just rubs off.
Yeah, so
ink.
So we did deal with a warehouse full of paint flakes for a while as we were packing the beers. So we do apologise for that, but
just cosmetic.
Yeah, but if you hate the beer, that's not why.
So One Drop, the name comes from, and I suppose their whole philosophy initially comes from reggae music, and they're big Bob Marley fans, of course. And I haven't been to the brewery yet because, I haven't been in Sydney since they've opened. But I hear they have a lot of palm trees. It just seems like a really good vibe.
Yeah, I think they've got a big mural up as well.
Yeah, really cool in the pictures.
But if you are heading to Sydney, their brewery is right near the airport, and they're definitely worth checking out because as well as their incredible range of sours like this, they have some fantastic hazy IPAs, some top drawer imperial stouts, and they're really kind of just everything they do is full noise, big flavors, a lot of big ABVs in there as well. This is about 7, I believe. 7. So this isn't really up there in terms of the space that they do get to with some of them, but they're regularly doing kind of 10, 11% stouts, sours, and IPAs. And yeah, one of the closest breweries to the airport. So if you're on a mad dash in and out and you've got an hour to kill before you need to be there, it's the place to go.
And I really like seeing a brewery that just finds their niche, or just what they're into, and just really flies with it. I think it's very easy to try and be all things to all people and just do a wide variety of different things. But yeah, One Drop have they've found their groove of just big flavors and big adjuncts and lots of sweet flavors. And yeah, as we said at the start, it's kind of a love it or hate it brewery. They're definitely not middle of the road. They're doing the sort of stuff that they're into, that they want to be drinking.
Yeah, and that's to me as well. That's how you get the best result a lot of the time.
Heck yeah.
So as Luke said, a lot of breweries try and be all things to all people, and a lot of great breweries can do that. But really, I think you tend to see the best of any given style from specialist breweries. Here in New Zealand, you have traditional breweries like Zeeland and North End who really nail their kind of classic German styles and traditional brewing. Then you've got breweries like Duncan's who, much like One Drop, focus on that kind of high-end lactose sweet side of things. And so wherever you find a brewery who's really kind of honed in on a specific style of brewing, I find that you tend to get you get specialists, and specialists produce specialized products like this.
Yeah, earlier in the year in winter, we at Beer Jerk organised the Trans-Tasman Collaborational, that you may have drank some of those beers. And so we work with Carwyn Cellars in Melbourne, who are a fantastic bunch of people. They're the same as Beer Jerk, basically, only way bigger and more successful. But they've got an awesome bar in Melbourne. They've got a shop. They've got a web shop. They organise different events. They do collaborations. So really, people that think in the same way as us here at Beer Jerk. So we got Carwyn Cellars to pick 12 awesome Australian brewers, and we picked 12 awesome New Zealand brewers, and we match made them. And they all brewed some brilliant beers together. And it was Duncan's, obviously, that we paired with One Drop, and that's launched a real relationship. They've done 2 other collaborations since then.
More, I think. I think it might be on 3 or 4.
Yeah, amazing.
At this stage.
So nice to be able to get like-minded people together.
Yeah, fun story about that beer. So we did the Trans-Tasman collaboration and launched it at Beervana, and we were packing in on the Thursday, ready for the Friday festival, and George Duncan came up to us kind of sheepishly and told us that he didn't have his beer in keg for us that day, but he'd bring it tomorrow because at that stage it was too thick to get through the faucets. So he had to condition it for another day to try and get some of that thick fruit out of there, so that it would literally was liquid enough to pour. Yeah, you could see the results on the day. It was and of that collaboration with One Drop, where really kind of driving it to that next level and delivering a huge flavour. That was a fantastic beer.
Yeah, like a smoothie, it just fell out the tap.
Yeah.
And that is, as Matt and I sometimes talk about, that is the secret of beers like this. You just put an absolute shitload of your adjunct ingredients in there.
Yeah, lots of lactose, lots of fruit, dial up that sourness. And yeah, I think there are beers like the ones we've had over the last few days, the dark lager, the Kolsch, the Vienna lager, where it's about subtlety and being measured and restrained. But for beers like this, it's about going the complete opposite direction for me. It's about, all right, how much fruit do we put in? All right, put in 50% more than that. How much lactose have we got in there? Okay, more. And there's beers where less is more, and there's beers like this where more is more. You can see that when people really kind of load up on those ingredients, just the massive amounts of flavour that are in this beer it's a real punch to the taste buds, like I said earlier. Yeah,
this is not a beer that I want to drink 15 glasses of this week, like I might the dark lager from Short Jaw. It's a beer I'm really happy to have tried, and it can whack my taste buds right, and it's super fun and it's remarkable. But that's the thing with tickers and with one-off beers and seasonal beers. You get a whole experience, and one's enough.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we'll see you tomorrow.
Good work, One Drop. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.